Think about all the stuff you own that you maybe use once or maybe twice.
Mm-hmm.
That drill collecting dust in the garage, or like the camping tent you haven't pitched in years.
Yeah, or even baby gear.
Mm.
That stuff is expensive and they grow out of it so fast.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of acquiring things for very specific, often pretty temporary needs.
And well, historically that meant buying was really your only option. You needed it, you bought it, didn't matter how little you actually used it.
Right. But there's this massive economic shift happening all around us, really, and it's fundamentally changing that whole equation.
You're talking about renting.
Yes, the explosion of renting,
Mm-hmm.
but not houses or apartments. We're talking about the non-housing rental economy. It's huge.
And our mission for this deep dive, well, it's to go through the material you've shared with us, understand the forces driving this incredible growth, who's involved, and maybe most importantly, what opportunities this opens up for you.
Yeah, we've been digging into excerpts from a piece called The Exploding Non-Housing Rental Economy, and wow, it makes it clear this isn't some small trend. It's like a multi-billion-dollar thing.
Definitely multi-billion. And becoming really mainstream, touching items you might need, well, tomorrow.
And it's not just the big stuff anymore, right? Like cranes and construction gear.
No, that's what's so fascinating. It's spread way beyond those traditional heavy equipment rental yards. It's now deeply embedded in everyday items, things impacting our personal lives, not just job sites.
Okay, so let's unpack this. How big is this non-housing rental world right now? Because the numbers we saw were pretty staggering.
They really are. They underscore the scale. If you look just at North America, focusing on, say, equipment and general tool rental, the American Rental Association, the ARA, has some compelling data.
Okay.
In the U.S. alone, that sector, $83.3 billion in revenue just in 2024.
$83.3 billion. Wow. And that was up, what, 8% from 2023?
That's right, 8% growth. Serious momentum.
That's huge.
Absolutely. And the forecast, continued strong growth. They're projecting another 5.2% jump in 2025, pushing it to maybe $87.5 billion.
Okay, $87.5 billion, just in the U.S. for equipment and tools.
And Canada's seeing significant activity too, not on the same scale, of course, but still big. $5.73 billion in 2024 for equipment and tools there.
Okay.
Expected to reach $5.95 billion in 2025. That's a solid 3.7% increase.
All right, so that's the sort of established side, growing nicely, but the material also highlighted something else that's just exploding globally, peer-to-peer, P2P rentals.
Yes, P2P. That feels newer. And the growth rates really reflect that. We saw data pointing to the global P2P rental app economy growing from about $18.1 billion in 2024.
$18 billion, okay.
All the way to potentially $84.7 billion by 2034.
Oh, hold on, $84.7 billion, That's an incredible forecast. What's the growth rate on that?
It works out to an 11.2% compound annual growth rate over a decade. That's really moving.
11% a year for 10 years.
Okay. And what kind of stuff does that cover? Well, that big number, it covers consumer-to-consumer rentals. So people renting things to each other. A huge range of stuff, tools, camping gear, electronics, sports equipment, party supplies, you name it.
Okay.
And we also saw a specific mention about the U.S. event equipment rental market. Things like tables, tents, chairs.
Right, for parties and weddings and stuff.
Exactly. That's projected for steady 4 or 5% annual growth. Seems to be really boosted post-COVID by, DIY weddings, smaller backyard gatherings, that kind of thing.
So putting it all together, it's not just some niche thing. It's this huge accelerating industry. And it feels like it's becoming much more accessible for, the average person, both as someone renting or someone providing the stuff.
That accessibility is absolutely key. It's fundamental to understanding this explosion we're seeing.
So with numbers like that, such rapid growth, what's actually fueling this boom? The reports seem to point to a few major drivers.
Yeah, several key forces. And one of the really powerful ones, according to the analysis, is sustainability. The whole circular economy idea.
Okay, how does renting fit into sustainability?
It's a really practical, tangible way to live out those circular economy principles. The basic idea is just increasing item utilization.
Using things more.
Exactly. Instead of, say, 10 different people buying 10 drills they each use once.
Right, like my dusty drill.
Yeah. You manufacture one drill that gets rented out and used 10 times by 10 different people. It dramatically reduces the resources needed in manufacturing, packaging, shipping, less waste overall.
And less carbon footprint, I guess.
Definitely lower carbon footprint associated with getting those items into people's hands.
And why does this seem to resonate so much right now?
Well, I think many people are just becoming more mindful of their environmental impact. You see it especially with younger generations, maybe Gen Z, millennials.
Hmm.
They often seem to prioritize experiences or, access to things over just owning mountains of physical goods, especially if owning feels wasteful or unnecessary.
Access over ownership.
Right. And renting fits perfectly with that. It extends the lifespan of durable goods, keeps stuff out of landfills.
Okay, so sustainability and that consumer mindset shift, that's a big piece. What's the other major engine here? Technology seemed crucial in the report.
Oh, absolutely crucial. Technology isn't just like helping this grow. It's fundamentally transformed what's even possible,
Okay.
especially in that peer-to-peer space we talked about.
How so?
Well, think about it. Tech has taken something that used to be maybe cumbersome or risky or only viable for big companies and made it work for individuals.
What specific tech are we talking about? Like apps?
Yeah, apps and online marketplaces are huge. They make it incredibly easy to use. You can list an item you own, search for something you need nearby, handle the booking, schedule pickup or delivery, track the whole thing.
Okay.
Plus, good inventory management tools, even simple ones for individuals, help owners keep track of what they have and when it's available.
And payments. That seems like a hurdle between strangers.
Secure online payment systems have been a game changer. They remove that huge barrier, making transactions simple and, importantly, trustworthy. And another key piece, integrated ID verification and review systems.
The trust factor. Like on Airbnb or Uber?
Exactly. It builds that necessary layer of trust for P2P rentals to really work and scale.
So the big picture impact of all this tech.
It's essentially made participating in the rental economy, whether you're renting something out or needing to rent something safe, scalable, and incredibly simple for almost anyone.
Makes sense. And sort of lurking underneath these big trends, the material also hinted that, well, financial pressure plays a role too, maybe more implied.
Yes, absolutely. It might be implied, but it's definitely there. The pure financial practicality of renting versus buying,
Right.
especially for high-cost items you only need once in a while. It just makes more sense for a lot of households and small businesses too these days. It's a way to get the functionality you need without that big upfront cost or the ongoing cost of owning it, especially, when budgets are tight.
Okay, so if we look beyond the bulldozers and heavy stuff, what kind of things are people actually renting these days? The report listed several categories seeing really strong growth.
It's a surprisingly diverse list. It really shows how this trend is weaving itself into all sorts of aspects of everyday life.
Let's walk through some of them. First up, tools and equipment, still a big one.
Yeah, probably the most familiar category, but the growth here is significant. It's moving beyond just contractors to the everyday homeowner. We're talking power tools, lawnmowers, ladders, paint sprayers.
Things I might need.
Exactly. The economics are clear. These things often cost a lot to buy, but most people don't use them very often. Makes them perfect for rental.
Makes total sense. You don't need to own a carpet cleaner if you only deep clean once a year.
Wow. Precisely. Then there's baby and toddler gear.
Ah, yes. The expensive temporary stuff.
Classic rental use case. Cribs, high chairs, maybe specific travel strollers. They're expensive, bulky, and needed for such a limited time.
Yeah, whether it's for travel or maybe a visiting grandchild.
Or just navigating those super fast growth stages. Renting solves the storage problem and eases the cost burden for those temporary needs.
Okay. What about medical and mobility aids?
Things like wheelchairs, walkers, crutches, maybe specialized bathroom equipment, similar to baby gear, often needed short term.
Like during recovery from an injury? Or surgery?
Exactly. Or maybe for accommodating elderly visitors. Renting gives you the access you need without the long-term commitment or cost.
Got it. Recreational and sports equipment. This sounds fun.
Yeah. Kayaks, paddleboards, camping gear, skis, snowshoes, maybe even golf clubs for a trip.
Stuff that's expensive and takes up space.
And often only used seasonally or for specific vacations. Renting lets you try out a sport, get gear for one trip, or use really high-value equipment without shelling out for ownership and figuring out where to store it.
Right. And that big one we touched on earlier, party and event supplies.
Tents, tables, chairs, linens, maybe decor items, photo booths. As the report noted, there's been a definite uptick in people hosting private events, backyard weddings, big birthday parties. That's driving substantial growth in renting these items temporarily.
And finally, home and DIY projects. Seems related to tools.
A bit, yeah. Things like appliance dollies for moving day, specialized floor sanders you'd only use once, maybe large landscaping tools for a big garden project.
Tools you need for a specific task, but definitely don't need cluttering up the garage forever.
Precisely.
It's really striking how broad that list is. Covers everything from very practical tasks to personal celebrations and hobbies.
And what's particularly exciting, as the material really highlights, is that this growth isn't just big companies getting bigger. There's a significant booming trend around the home-based rental business.
This really brings that peer-to-peer idea to life, doesn't it? It feels like, leveraging stuff you already have sitting around.
Absolutely. And the analysis explains why now is such a perfect time for individuals to basically turn items in their garage or shed into an income stream.
The barriers to entry seem really low for starters.
Remarkably low. You can literally start with just one item, maybe two, and scale up as you go, often running it right from your home.
And the potential profit margin?
Seems high. The idea is that most durable goods can be monetized significantly over their lifespan through repeated rentals, potentially earning back, 10 to 50 times their original cost.
Wow.
Plus, you control your schedule. You can fit rentals around your existing job or maybe build it into a more dedicated side business.
The report had some great real-world examples, like a parent renting out 10 baby items, making $50, $75 a week.
Yeah, or the landscaper renting out their bobcat loader on weekends when they weren't using it, an extra $200 a day.
It's significant side income.
Or even the retiree renting out folding chairs and party tents from their garage.
Those stories really drive it home. It shows how accessible it is. It feels like it's empowering this whole new wave of micro-entrepreneurs.
Definitely. Making it simple to monetize assets that were just sitting there underused.
And the established industry, it sounds like they're providing support for this shift, too. The American Rental Association, the ARA, they play a key role.
For sure. Their reporting and forecasts, while they validate the huge opportunity here, they confirm this shift to rent is real and accelerating across different categories, especially since COVID. They provide essential data and advocacy for the whole rental world.
The material also pointed to a specific platform, rentanythingstore.com. Sounded like it was designed specifically for this boom in everyday item rentals, to help those micro-entrepreneurs.
Yeah, according to what we reviewed, that platform seems uniquely focused on what they call the other 95% of rentable items. So not just the big construction stuff or real estate, but the tools, the gear, the party supplies.
The stuff we've been talking about.
Exactly. And it seems to have features built specifically to make it easier and maybe less risky for individuals to jump in.
Like what kind of features?
Well, it reportedly offers a dual model. You can list items on their open marketplace just for general discovery. Or you can create your own branded storefront. So you could essentially run your own local tool rentals or your town party supplies right from home, but using their tech.
Interesting. And what about the risk? Damage, theft. That must be a concern for people lending out their stuff.
That's a major concern. The source mentioned a crucial feature, an owner protection program. It's designed specifically to address those common fears. What happens if something gets damaged or stolen or just isn't returned?
Okay, that seems important for individuals.
Very. They also apparently emphasize ease of setup, having a scalable tech platform, and really supporting people serving their local communities first.
So it really sounds like technology and these specialized platforms are just lowering the barriers significantly, making it practical for regular people to get involved, both as renters and as providers.
That increased accessibility is absolutely fundamental. It underpins the explosive growth we've been discussing.
Okay, so let's try and pull together the main takeaways from this deep dive into the non-housing rental economy.
First off, it's clearly huge, it's real, and it's growing fast. Multi-billions, accelerating.
Yep, multi-billion-dollar sector. And that growth, it's powerfully driven by, well, increasing environmental awareness, that whole circular economy idea.
Right.
Plus the enabling technology that makes renting simple and trustworthy. And just the growing financial practicality, renting versus owning, especially for occasional use items.
And it's definitely expanding way beyond just big construction gear. It's into this vast range of everyday items, things you might need for a project, a party, travel, a temporary situation.
A really wide spectrum. And perhaps the most exciting part, or implication, is how it's enabling literally thousands of home-based businesses. It's fostering this new wave of micro-entrepreneurs.
People finding ways to turn stuff they already own, maybe underused stuff, into valuable income streams.
So, this shift to rent, it's clearly happening right now. It's becoming more and more mainstream. And the opportunity, well, It seems genuinely open to everyone.
Which kind of brings us to a final thought, something for you, the listener, to consider. Drawing from the closing sentiment we saw in the source material, it really puts the ball in your court.
Yeah, it basically says, look, with this booming economy and with the accessible tools and platforms now available,
The sources suggest the rest is up to you.
it's a prompt, really, to look around your own space, your garage, your shed, look around your neighborhood, your community. What possibilities might be sitting right there waiting to be unlocked by this whole trend?